Thanks for staying with us. The political scene in Lagos is heating up as prominent figures within the All Progressives Congress APC emerge as contenders for the 2027 governorship race. Among the leading names are Femi Gbajabiamila, current Chief of Staff to President Tinubu, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly Mudashiru Obasa, and Seyi Tinubu, son of the President. While Gbajabiamila's legislative experience and connections are an advantage, his age has sparked debates about the need for younger leadership. Stakeholders from Lagos' 5 administrative districts, Ikorodu, Badagry, Ikeja, Lagos Island, and Ekpe, are lobbying for representation. Ekpe residents favor Dr. Tunji Alausa, while Ikorodu and Badagry push for candidates like Representative Benjamin Obabajimi Benson and Senator Tokumbo Abiru, respectively. Badagry seeks its first governor since 1999, while Ikorodu emphasizes fair representation after decades of marginalization. The APC faces a delicate task of balancing regional interest while choosing a candidate capable of uniting the party and winning public support. As conversations continue, the party's Governance Advisory Council will play a critical role in shaping the decision. But let's look at some political permutations by our guest this morning. Okay, I have a new title, Ambassador Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, a public affairs analyst. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Nyangul. Thank you.
Yes, I just saw an attachment, Ambassador. Okay, congratulations.
It's been long, it's been more than a year. I got there last year.
Well, I've never used it. I've never seen it being added to your name. Today is the first one. Maybe I should be calling you Your Excellency. Oh, you know. But that's by the way.
You'll be out of place.
Oh, good. Okay, now APC is gearing up. Politics is heating up right now. Let's begin with what happened in the last chairmanship, selection of candidates to run for chairmanship in Lagos State. There's been some dissatisfaction in so many quarters within the APC that candidates were being imposed. And just from the report I just read now, opening up this conversation, we've seen that every region is fronting someone that would benefit their region, not necessarily the quality of the person being fronted. But let's just hear from you what you see about the political race in Lagos now, how it will affect the 2027 election.
Yeah, thanks. So, you see, Lagos is facing a peculiar political season that he has never faced since 1999. So that's why you saw how the primaries for the local government election went. Many people who want to position certain persons in the local government because of their interest in the governorship race in 2027 may also have affected how the primaries, went for the APC. Because, at the local government level, that is the grassroots that will drive anybody who wants to be governor. So automatically, if you have interest to be governor, there's every likelihood that you'll be very involved in this local government election to place certain people in the grassroots, that will help drive your agenda for 2027. And considering the fact that President Tinubu, who also leads the party in Lagos, is now president, there's a presidential interest, in whatever will happen in Lagos, which has never happened before. So it's a peculiar time for Lagos, and it's a tough political season for all political actors in Lagos, and different interests will always, be projected from different angles. From the Ekpe angle, you'll see that, Ambode did only one term, and they have been lamenting that they need to finish their own time, and they should allow them finish their time. And you see that even Ambode is in the rumors that he wants to come back to do that one term that is left. And some other candidate also from the Ekpe is also being projected. And there's a long list of others. You can also take away the influence of the current chief of staff to the president, Femi Gbajabiamila, in the whole scheme of things. So he's a strong person in Surulere in Lagos, and that even beyond Surulere, which he did excellently well for the last 20 years, there's also a strong interest, of him across the state from different, people. So that's a strong candidate. One person they are equally not seen in the equation of things, which I think that is where they'll be blindsiding themselves, is the current principal private secretary to the president, Mr. Morokola. I don't see him being talked about so much in the whole scheme of things, but I also feel like he's a strong candidate who all of these persons may not be seen so much as a strong contender until he takes the entire pie or the whole cake home. So they need to also watch him. He was a former head of civil service for Lagos State before he moved to his present role as principal private secretary to the president. And there are rumors within the corridors, of the presidency that he is really loved by the president and might just be, a possible candidate in the governorship race. So he is not in the scheme of things, as I see people talk about a lot of things now in Lagos, but that may be something we need to look at. So the local government is where all of this will happen. After the local government election, then I'm sure it will now be gradually clear, where the pendulum is swinging to. But I doubt that Sheyi, even though he has been talked about a lot, that's his present son, I doubt that Sheyi will be considered for the governorship position now, considering his father is president, so that they don't spark some unnecessary conversations and they don't heat up the polity in a way to look like Tinubu's family is wanting to take everything from president to governorship and may not appear so well. Maybe after his father has left office as president, it may be a good position for him. But I think what he is doing now, which I really must commend him, is that he's using this opportunity to build a strong political base in Lagos and nationwide, which we have seen him do quite a lot of things. So Lagos State is facing indeed a peculiar situation as we approach 2027, and there will be a lot. And you know that the Speaker of the House, Obasa, also admitted that he also can run for president, for governor rather, and he can also occupy the office, and that also will hit a lot of conversation around the Ikeja axis of the state, which will also there's some interest there. Go to Ikorodu also. The Ikorodu people in that axis also, have been interested to come to the center in the state, and you see many names are being projected from that angle. We must also take them seriously, as those names are also very strong people who I think that we change the dynamics of things. So Lagos is a peculiar issue, but the good thing about Lagos is they have a very beautiful way to handle any political issue that may rise from all of this. We saw how they handled the crisis in the State Assembly and how everything just ended, without any hula baloo. So for me, I'm not worried, even if issues may arise politically as we approach the governorship election. They have a very beautiful way of aligning at the end of the day when the selections are made after their primaries and everybody commit to the race. So I think these are some of my views on it.
Yeah, I too ruled out Sheyi Tinubu, and I looked at it as if he has any hope, then Ambode will be his ticket, because Ambode cannot do two tenors, he can only do one, and coming immediately after the father steps down as president will give him more chances to be a Lagos State governor, because after that,
yes,
the longer it stays after the father leaves office as president, the smaller the chances of him becoming the governor of Lagos State. But let's see how it plays out. Now the big question is, Lagos and its economy is bigger than a lot of African countries. Lagos, a lot of people have said, can do more than they are doing right now. Why they are where they are right now, we do not understand. But they can do even more, maybe triple of what they're doing right now in terms of revenue collection, development, infrastructure-wise, anything you want to think about. Now, if we're going into 2027, regardless of regional politics and all that, because like we said, all the names that have been mentioned are being fronted by people of their region. So they're not thinking about what governance should be and what Lagos should be like. They're thinking about what will be for their own regions. What kind of a governor do you think Lagos State needs in 2027?
Well, in answering this question, I want to also speak to the opposition in Lagos. And before I come to what kind of governor does Lagos need now, the APC structures in Lagos are deeply rooted as we speak at the moment. So even though Labour Party was close to, shaking that structure at its roots in the last general elections, we know that, they didn't succeed at the end of the day. Of course, after the whole Supreme Court issues in evaluating the governorship election and all, in 2027, I think if there needs to be a shift, first, the oppositions in Lagos need to have a firm coalition. Without a coalition, you may not be able to shake that foundation the way they shook it, the Labour Party shook it in 2023. So they need to watch that. So a coalition and a one strong opposition will be able to shake the APC, just a little bit more than what was achieved in 2023. So if a shift happens, then you begin to see, many things open up for what we have not seen in Lagos, before. And when you look at the kind of governor that Lagos State needs, that kind of governor it needs is one that we did want to think away and beyond. One that want to look at how can we, deepen, what we have presently in Lagos State, for example, the revenue, for example, the kind of commercial city that we have. How do we want to transform that into a much more better, something that fits the kind of city we are thinking about Lagos? How do we want to think about solving the issue of traffic in Lagos? How do we want to have a more responsive government? How do we want to open up the civil service? As the way it is now in Lagos State, the civil service is looking like a small occultic group of people. It's because politics has eaten so deep, in all they do within the Lagos State civil service. So that needs to be broken and open it up in a way that we just, shatter that, stronghold they've already had over time. So the kind of governor Lagos needs is one that would govern Lagos from a perspective of the kind of mega city we are looking at Lagos currently is. The present governor in Lagos State, even though I think he's trying his best, I feel like he is limited, because of course, the structures around him that brought him into office and all of that. So he's slightly limited in what he can do. And that was why Ambode had an issue, when he was governor, because he tried to step away from what was deemed, as the direction, for the state politically, and some people were aggrieved with his style of governance. So what Lagos State needs is, a governor that will think away and beyond, that will be able to manage the city or the state with that overview of a mega city that we are looking at, to be able to bring quite a lot of things. Even though I think Lagos has achieved, that political stability that many other states yearn for, I think at this point now there are just some limitations to what anybody who comes in as governor can indeed achieve. So they need to break away from these current shackles and try to look beyond what they currently have to achieve anything much more. Otherwise, it's going to look like a circle going over and over again. They've been at this exact structure since 1999 under the leadership of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So I think that there needs to be fresh thinking, fresh ideas, and it will be difficult to achieve this if an opposition does not form a formidable coalition, that can hit the foundation, of this political structure that's been built, over the last 25 years.
Well, I will sound too pessimistic if I say that there is no opposition in Lagos, but that's what it seems. Whatever run for their money they had in 2023 came from a figure outside Lagos, the influence of a figure outside Lagos, not inside Lagos. And it seems as if political parties in Lagos are being sponsored by the very party they are supposed to oppose. That's just conjecture anyway, but it doesn't seem so much likelihood that opposition will take the reins of power in 2027, except something really, really aggressive is being done. But while you're giving the kind of qualities that the next governor should have in Lagos, do you think it should favor, I know you're a youth yourself, but do you think age should be a factor rather than capacity or experience?
Capacity and experience has never been maybe a factor of age. The reason why we are yearning, for more youth participation in Nigeria is because, we as young people, we are the majority. We take like the chunk of the population, and the reason why you need to get young people involved in this whole governance approach, it is because you can't be leading a youthful population without getting, a direct contribution or support or maybe involvement of that youth population. You may not be able to, design or achieve anything, that needs to, include them or befit them. So that's why you need we clamor a lot for youth to be involved in the whole political, and governance arrangement. But we know that capacity, really has never been a factor of age. After all, we have young people who have made it into government and was unable to deliver. And we can look at some names, but let's not go into name calling. But we know that young people have made it into government and they were unable to deliver, and that's a fact. And so I think what should be key when we look at all of this is you have a youth population that is nearly, whether 90% or 85% or 95%, I can't remember what the number is now, is that you need to design your government in a way, that you include these young people, and so that you can get that youthful perspective. Look at Ghana, for example. When John Dramani Mahama, became president, if you look at his ministerial list and his ministerial cabinet, we see quite a huge number of young people who made it to the cabinet. The whole essence of that is he was intentional about getting them involved. I have friends, because I lived and studied in Ghana for my undergrad. So today I have quite a lot of friends who made it into the cabinet today in Ghana. I know their antecedents from their university days, who are young people who I know can deliver. And today they are making that government, what it should be. So whoever becomes governor of Lagos State, for me, might not be entirely a factor of age, but it will be an advantage for us if a youthful person, gets a position. But be it as it may, whoever steps into the office, how you are able to carry the young people along, how you are able to make sure your cabinet, is robust in a way with a youthful population or youthful competence, and will help you deliver even much more. And when we say young people should be involved in governance, we're not saying pick anybody because they are young people. We are saying look within that young population, pick people who have the competence, the capacity, to also deliver, who have built the experience, to also deliver at some of those tasks and duties that you feel like where you need hands to and support. So it's not entirely a factor of age. It's a factor of competence and the capacity to deliver. And there are many young people who I feel like if they are given the opportunity, they can also fit into that perfect profile of what we have said, competence and capacity, and they can also govern Lagos State well. The last governorship candidate of the Labour Party in Lagos State, GRV, if you hear him speak as a young person from his academic background and his experience, you can see that he had a good plan. He just was able to get the vote and the mandate, he ought to have gotten to get into office. And we feel like you should keep trying. You shouldn't give up at first try. You see how you can go again, and that will see a steady hand. So this is where we think young people can come in, and a government of young people, a government balance, gender balance, because you also need to ensure that the women are carried along, as you cannot, run a government today where all perspectives of your population is not captured, and women also play a huge role in this regard. So a balanced cabinet, just like Rwanda has achieved a 50-50, cabinet, for the country, is achievable in every other clime. And it's something I feel like every government across the country, Nigeria, should consider. It takes nothing to achieve a 50-50 cabinet. If I was governor of any state, is what I will yearn to achieve, a cabinet where I have 50-50 gender balance, which is possible as we know that there are many qualified men and women who can man some of these positions in government. So these are some of my views.
Well, there can never be a 50-50 cabinet because when you have 50 women, 50 men, people living with disability will come with their own, the youths will come with their own, and so many other groups will come with their own. They want representation and all that. But like you said, be fair to all of them as it is. But among the qualities of the Lagos State governor, this might be funny, you also need someone who can think for himself and not spend the whole tenure or 2 tenures settling people who are his elders, because that happens a lot in Lagos, whether we say it out loud or not. So someone who has been there and he will not fear just about everybody and anybody should also be selected, because Lagos is peculiar. I think that should be added to the qualities. Someone who can stand up to the people that need settlement and say, you know what, I will settle you in some, but this one I will not. Yeah.
Let me help you. Let me help you frame that better. I think what Lagos is somebody who can show leadership and be able to manage political interest, think on his feet, and be able to achieve governance. And that should not be affected by whatever political interest that may be.
Beautiful.
Because in politics and governance, that show of leadership and how you are able to manage all of those interests, that seem to come at you and still be able to deliver. And someone has done that before. That's Fashola. Fashola, as governor of Lagos State, was able to show leadership, manage the political interest, deliver good governance to the people, and be able to see and be involved, and I see till today many people still miss the Fashola era in Lagos State. So it's all about leadership. How do you show that capacity for leadership to manage everybody and be able to think on your feet, despite wherever you're coming from, and when you cannot. I think the last couple after Fashola, all the governors after have not shown that they are able to think on their feet beyond that political umbrella that covers them, and be able to show that leadership enough, to manage. Look at the crisis that happened with the State Assembly in Lagos State. I'm not sure I saw enough leadership, shown, by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. I think he kept himself in a position where he seemed handicapped, to even do anything, and the GAC, was just, controlling all that needed to happen, until the president, stepped in and calmed the waters down. For me personally, I didn't see enough leadership shown by Babajide Sanwo-Olu as governor to manage that situation. I think he also even chose a side, and everything was about to go haywire before the president, stepped in, at that point in time. So I think that's why we should consider a lot leadership. How do you show the leadership capacity to manage all the interests, regardless of the umbrella that you come from, and the interest that will come with that?
That's well put, because the last governor thought on his feet, like you have been talking about, thought on his feet, and then what removed him was that he was not following a blueprint that you and I may not have ever seen, a blueprint of Lagos. Whatever that blueprint is, that's a story for the gods. But Wisdom, I'd like you to just say a word to the Lagos people as they prepare for the 2027 election, because elections for 2027, the race has begun now. The race has begun right now. Even it started earlier than now, but the people seem not prepared. They will just wait for that time, and before you know it, it is 3 onions and 2 seasoning cubes, and then 1 small sachet of salt that will have the election rigged into let me not go further. Please just talk to the people of Lagos State, because they are the biggest political party, not APC, not PDP, not Labour Party or any other thing. It's the people that are the biggest political party.
You know, our system in Nigeria is designed first that you can't get into office unless a vehicle drives you, which is a political party. So my first word is to the party people in Lagos State to say, look, while you have the first opportunity in doing the primaries to pick whoever should emerge and run the race for governor, you should indeed look at, you know, competence to deliver. You should look at antecedents. You should look at, you know, manifestos. You should look at what are their plans they have, you know, for not just you party people, but the state in general. Beyond that political party primaries now, the residents of Lagos, you know, all of us will look at, you know, what are your plans in critical areas, you know, to solve Lagos issues. For example, there's an issue of power, there's an issue of traffic, you know, there's an issue of, you know, this mobility, you know, should we go on trains or not? Should we stop the yellow buses? There's a huge plan, you know, for Lagos that we all need to look at that will give us comfort as residents, you know, to be able to consider who should indeed lead us next. There's a need of how do we manage the resources? How do we grow the resources beyond what we currently have? So as we go into the elections in 2027, which, I mean, is 2 years from now, but what we should be looking at for is who is that person that has laid it clear and has simplified it before us, what his plans and agenda is for the state, and we see a future, you know, in all of this for the state itself. Because if we don't see a future in whatever plans anybody is putting forward, then we may not be able to achieve much. And the era of people running for office and going into office without first communicating whatever plans they have with the people or engaging in a debate, you know, as a democracy, we should be able to welcome that idea where we engage in a debate of ideas, you know, and be able to present to the people that this is a superior idea, you know, as you can see, to all that has been presented, and that's why you should vote for me. So I think these are some of the things we should be looking at, and we should really be involved. If we want the state and the country to change, citizens need to be well involved in this political process, you know, as we build up. I think these are some of my thoughts to Lagos State, and also not even Lagos. It's a template I think can work across, you know, the nation as we go into the next political cycle. We should be able to look way beyond, you know, this person is my friend or all of that. What are the ideas you're putting forward? What are the plans, you know? And Lagos State is peculiar because we have faced quite a lot of challenges, you know, as a state. And as we go into 2027 election, one that is at the front burner, you know, for every candidate that will come now is how do you solve the issue of power for Lagos State? We have a policy in Lagos State at the moment. How do we put that plan in motion to ensure that every home and residence in Lagos is able to have access to 24/7 electricity, you know, for the state? So the issue of power, stability, and sustainability will be a major conversation in 2027. And whoever will be the interested candidates, who will be our aspirants, will need to tell us what are you going to do different in the issue of power. Because when we solve the issue of power, they will open up a lot for Lagos State and, in fact, the country as a whole. So I think that's some of my thoughts I want to share with everyone. 2 years to the election, but it has started already. And from going into next year, there will be more of this politicking, you know, that will be done very strongly, you know, across the country.
Okay, that's wisdom from wisdom. We thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the program this morning. Ambassador Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo. Thank you for coming.
It's the first time I've been called ambassador on TV. I never talked about my title. Yes.
Thank you so much for coming. Yeah.
Thank you.
We've been talking with Wisdom Chapp-Jumbo, Public Affairs Analyst. We were looking at the race to 2027, the governorship race that is, and what would likely happen and what we should do as a people. We'll take a short break now and return with our final top trending for this morning. Stay with us.